Hey, it's Jeff Walker, and I've got a really cool case study. So this case study is with Barry Friedman, and Barry had a great career going, a very accomplished career, but sometimes life throws a curveball at you, and you got to make some changes. And this case study is exactly that, where Barry life was going in one direction, and all of a sudden, boom, he had to change directions, and that's what he did in this case study. So check it out.
So right after the accident, I was laying on the ground, right side of my body, all paralyzed, totally wind knocked out of me. I'd heard that my whole life and I'd never experienced what that was feeling like. And I was able to get the words out to my good friend who was on the ride with me, and I said, I have a show in Vegas on Wednesday. And he was looking at my collarbone, kind of poking almost through my skin, and said, no, you don't. And a lot of things happened at that moment. I started thinking about my house, my family, my life, how I'd made a living. At that point, I had been a professional juggler traveling around the world for 25 plus years. And all of a sudden I thought, wow, if this goes away, it was amazing. You think about life flashing before your eyes, but I was thinking if this goes away, a lot of things are going to change. House, childhood, dreams, traveling, all this stuff gone in an instant on a mountain bike accident. So from there was a lot of time in a bed. From after the accident and after the surgery, there was a whole lot of time, painkillers, hand therapy, arm therapy, doctor's visits, and all that time not working, not performing, canceling shows, giving shows to other performers that I knew. Stuff that's hard to do, it was really hard to feel I'm being cut off now from what I've always known. I'm not going to be able to do what I always knew and loved. At that point, we started really having some talks with my wife. She's been an amazing stay-at-home mom, and she is my confidant. So we started talking about what else I'm good at, and she came up with the great line, you're really good at booking a juggling act for a lot of money. And the thinking in my brain just started going, okay, let me create something. I was on some different email lists. I had learned a lot of stuff online, but I'd never done a course. I'd never been a leader, in that way. I found all kinds of programs that taught me about the technical side of it, how to build a website, how to do a membership site, different plugins, all this stuff. But what was missing was the core. How do I actually give my message to an audience that's somewhere in the world that may or may not know me in a way that they could imagine it happening for them? And that was the piece, that was the sentence that I extracted from PLF, is this is how you do that. One thing I struggled with was, how do I talk about the possibility and what I've done in my life and not sound like a big ego who's just going, hey, I've done president shows, I do 100 corporate dates a year, because that is useless to people in the outside world. What was more powerful, and it's the first thing I learned in PLF, was I'm a lot like you. How to tell that story of where I started. I tell you, my videos, my pre-launch videos for Showbiz Blueprint would have looked well, for one thing, Showbiz Blueprint would still be sitting on my hard drive if it wasn't for PLF, I'm sure of that, because I wasn't comfortable putting it out from the place of ego, from here's what I've done. It was like all of a sudden discovering oxygen when Jeff talked about, here's how you tell a story that lets people know I'm a lot like you. Here's the struggles I went through. Here's what happened, and here's why I want to share it. I was on the road. That's what I did. My success, my worth as a human being was measured in how many gigs could I get a year? How many days could I be on airports? And my life has transformed since PLF in one way that matters more than anything in the world. I figure I have about 18 years with this little son of mine. He's 13 now. And well, I thought that mountain bike crash was the worst thing in the world that happened. It's funny, it happened at a time when I was literally asking the universe, how do I spend more time with my son? He was 5 in those days. In 2007, he was 5, and it's funny, you get what you ask for, but it never, ever comes in a package that you're expecting. So, mountain bike crash led to discovering PLF, led to creating GetMoreCorporateGigs.com, led to creating Showbiz Blueprint, led to creating private coaching, led to creating my next product that I'm working on. And all of it because I was asking, how do I spend more time with my son? What do I do to not spend 150 days a year in airports? I wrote Jeff about this. I said, it's unbelievable to me that because I had this accident, because I found you, now there's a guy in Tennessee who's doing a TED Talk. There's a guy in Hong Kong who's charging $1,000 for each birthday party. Dozens of other examples of people who saw themselves through what I put out in PLF, saw maybe that's a way for me to do it, stepped into my programs, did the work, and are now affecting millions of people. I mean, the ripples for that, immeasurable. They literally are immeasurable. And I tell you, anyone's life can look at one moment. Anyone can look at a moment in their life and see how the ripples have affected their immediate circle and a level out. The stuff that's possible when you create a product, when you put something out, launch it in a way that people can see themselves, give what you promise in the program, and then over-deliver, that is immeasurable.